Good morning. It's time for today's AM Minnesota program. Going to be a fun program because we are going to be talking about Heritage Days, a big celebration in Faribault coming up next week. In studio with me is Paul Panonsky. Well, Paul, you've been in that chair a number of times in your past.
Yes, I have.
And also in studio is Jason Rare. Jason, we were talking a little bit before we went on the air about what you do, and it's called time value of money and looking long-term in investing, right?
That is correct.
Well, we have to take a break for the markets here in about a minute, but boy, it's always one of my favorite weeks of the year. There's something special about a community when they start to look forward to their celebration. So many communities have something in the summertime, and it's just a special event for the community and the whole area.
It is. We have all kinds of activities for basically the entire week long, so there should be something for everybody out there. Even beginning this coming weekend here, we've got some stuff a couple of days prior to Heritage Days, and then we get into full swing come Wednesday of next week, and Wednesday through Saturday. There are a lot of activities for people to enjoy.
And of course, really kicking it off Monday too. Let's get a plug in for the Bruce Smith Golf Classic. Nice way to kick off the week there.
Absolutely.
Well, Paul, if you can stand by, Jason, we have to take a break for the markets, and we'll find out about all the activities planned for Faribault's big Heritage Day celebration coming up next week. The Heritage Day celebration kicking off next week in Faribault. That's a topic on today's AM Minnesota program. In studio is Paul Panonsky and also Jason Rare. Paul, I kid you before we went on the air. It's a big job for your crew with this warm weather and all this rain, trying to stay ahead of acres and acres of lawn that need to be mowed.
They do. They've got plenty to do, and then also with the festival in town, they keep them really busy hauling all the different barricades and everything else that we need for all the different events. So they've got their plates full.
A lot of us maybe take some of those things for granted. We're used to these community celebrations, and we don't realize how much planning and organization goes into pulling it off, making it a great event.
Yeah, the board plans for about 10 months. We take a month and a half, 2 months off right after the event to recover a little bit, and then we plan the rest of the year. It's a really committed board. It's a board that a number of the members have been on there for longer than my tenure, and I think my tenure has been 8 or 9 or 10 years. So it's a real fun, committed group who really strives to do something different, add different events, and to make it something that everybody, or that will appeal to everybody.
That's the key, making sure you bring back all of those popular activities, but yet always be on the lookout for something new and different that people might enjoy.
Right, absolutely. And this year, one of the events that we have that we've tried over and over again to really build up in the park, in Central Park, is a craft fair. And this year we found somebody that had a lot of energy and enthusiasm about crafts and had some of her own connections. Carrie Casper has really stepped up, and this year we will have 41 booths in Central Park of different crafts or different people selling their wares.
Boy, that sounds like a nice addition because a lot of folks really enjoy that type of thing.
They do. It's a really good draw, and we're really excited that Carrie has come onto the board and come on with her new energy and enthusiasm and her excitement around building the craft fair.
Well, we better talk a bit just about the details of when things kick off. Let's get a plug in for the Bruce Smith Golf Tournament first on Monday, even though that's not officially part of the Heritage Day celebration. Kind of it is.
Yep, it's another huge community activity that's going on, and it draws a lot of people for that from locally as well as from out of town.
The official celebration then kicks in Wednesday evening, isn't it, or later on in the afternoon with the mayor's reception?
Actually, on Wednesday we start with the opening ceremonies, and then we have youth night on Wednesday night. The mayor's reception will be on Thursday evening, so that's on the second evening there, and that will be down at Alexander's this year, beginning at 5 p.m. But we've got a huge event just prior to that on Thursday afternoon also, and I think you guys are going to be doing a little bit more work with that on the radio here. But that's when we do the Tilt-A-Whirl. They'll be doing the dedication for the Tilt-A-Whirl down on the corner of 2nd and Central Avenue down there right in front of Burkhartsmeyer. So they'll reveal the existing Tilt-A-Whirl that was restored. Yep. And so that'll be revealed to the public down there, and have a big ceremony with that. And and then we'll go from there over to the mayor's reception, and then back to the park, and we'll have family night on that night then. So
that's what's kind of neat too about a community celebration, is do things like this and tie it into the history and the past of the community.
Yeah, most definitely. And speaking of history or past, the Rice County Historical Society has an event. It's the unofficial kickoff to the Heritage Days. They have an event tonight at the Legion. Dinner tickets are sold out, but they brought back the Buddy Koopman's Orchestra. And at 7 o'clock, people can come to the door for $10 and come in and listen and dance to the orchestra.
And this is maybe kind of a fundraiser too then to help.
It absolutely is. Yep, it's a fundraiser for the Rice County Historical Society. But I'm glad you bring up fundraiser, because this event it requires a lot of money and time and a lot of support from the community. One way that we ask the individuals help is by purchasing a button. It's $3. This year and in the last few years, we've really tried to go back to requiring buttons for certain events. If some people remember 10 plus years ago, there used to be a fence all the way around Central Park, and a button was required to get in. We went away from that and tried to be more inclusive, so that people didn't have to purchase a button. But what we found out, the economics are that it really helps. So we're asking that people show their support by purchasing a $1 or a $3 button.
$3, well, that's not a whole lot of money.
it's not. And it gets you into a number of different activities. For that $3, you can get into a lot of different activities, including when you get to Friday and Saturday night, the beer tent. You can't get into the beer tent without a button. So buy it early, go to different events, and then you've just got it for all the other events during the festivities.
Because it does take a lot of money to get all of these different activities pulled off and organized, and the more things you have, the more people you're going to get to come.
That's right, and and we're not paying for any labor. If everybody's think we're doing that, so everything that goes out there is all for supplies. It's all to just run the actual programs and stuff that we're doing out there. So everything is done by the board. We're a totally volunteer board, and everybody, like Jason mentioned, is a very dedicated, high quality board. But it does take a lot of funds to run all these different activities. Just buying the awards and getting different things taken care of just to make the events fun for everybody.
You mentioned before the market break how your crew and Park and Rec are so busy mowing lawns and then doing all the things, moving the barricades, getting things set up. Well, that's basically the city that is paying for that. So, it's nice that the city is helping out a little bit too by supplying some of the crew to get all these things done.
Yeah, what being a big event like this one here is, it's way more than just the Park and Rec department. Public Works spends a lot of time there. They're out there setting up and closing off a lot of the streets, but when we get to the parade, they man all the intersections. The police department is very active this week here, and they provide reserves for us all week long in the park. So we're really, really appreciative of all that, and we're also appreciative of the city council to allow us to do this, to allow these big community events to go. If they didn't allow us to do this, and the Heritage Days Committee had to pay for all that, it probably wouldn't happen.
Well, probably get some support from even countywide. The Rice County Sheriff's Department probably is there to help out. And I bet you find that if you need some help with something, all you have to do is ask, and people are ready to jump in.
We do get a lot of support from a whole lot of different entities. One of the ones that we like to point out are our pillar sponsors. They're the ones that give a $2,500 donation either through in-kind donations or through writing a check, and those would be Ameriprise Financial, the Faribault Chamber of Commerce, Clearsight Creative, which recreated our website this year, which is faribaultheritagedays.com, the City of Faribault, and then the State Bank of Faribault.
Well, special thanks to all those community members that are stepping up and making this such a special event. We should probably talk a bit about the parade. Whenever I think of the Heritage Days parade, I chuckle a little bit because I remember where it used to be, and Highway 60 as it went through town, and a fairly major highway had to be redirected. Well, because of redoing downtown Central Avenue, we had to come up with Plan B, and we've stayed with Plan B ever since for the parade route.
We have. We used to come down Highway 60 there. We would have to shut the highway down about 4 o'clock, and it would be closed for about 4 or 5 hours. And we'd have to have alternate routes that came through town. We'd need MnDOT permission to have these alternate routes, and everything would have to meet MnDOT specifications. And then some of our bypass routes didn't work for the semis, so you had to have a separate bypass route for the semis to come through town. The city didn't have enough barricades to close off everything, so once we made this switch and came out of North Alexander Park and came down 2nd Avenue and found out that, you know, it's much more manageable, and we could do stuff with just City of Faribault permissions versus having to draw MnDOT into everything. It simplified it, and it also brought everything back into the residential area, which has really been a nice add for people. There are people, if you go up and down 2nd Avenue, that are having gatherings in their yards all day long that day, just in anticipation of having the parade there that evening.
And the staging ground at the Rice County Fairgrounds, lots of room to load and unload and get lined up. Even that works out well.
That is actually perfect, because if those that remember way back when, we would close off all the side streets along Highway 60 as well too, on both north and south side of Highway 60 there, and for blocks and blocks everything was closed off so the parade entries could line up.
Yeah, and then there was some confusion about exactly, like spokes in a wheel, where you were supposed to be, and so you stop somewhere and you'd walk a couple, 3, 4 blocks to find out. Here, you all just line up right at the fairgrounds. Oh, it works nice.
Yep. We're being able to work with the fair board and being able to use the fairgrounds has really been a nice add for that part.
There's another example of someone who stepped up and said, hey, this is a great idea. Let people enjoy the fairgrounds, because then you've got, like many times, the Cardinal Cafe will open up, so you can kind of have a picnic there, nice weather, get burgers and things. It just...
Absolutely. Yep.
This year, just while we're talking about the parade, one change is we did move the time up 15 minutes. So we don't want people to get there late after it's already started. So this year, the Kids Fun Run, which precedes the parade, is going to be at 6 o'clock, and the parade starts at 6:15.
And the parade is on Saturday, right?
It is.
I seem to remember a while back when, didn't we sometimes have the parade on a Friday night?
We did, but that's probably been well more than a decade ago, so it's been a long time ago. It's just kind of gets engraved.
Aren't you impressed I can remember that long ago?
I am. You did good.
But there again, it was a change, and I'm not sure why or what necessitated it, but all at once I think Saturday works much better again.
Yep, Saturday works out very well, and I think and I'm not sure either, because some of those changes were made a long time ago, but as far as finding volunteers to line everything up and get all those committee members in there, Saturday does work really well for the event.
How many units do we have lined up for the parade so far, Jason?
You know, it's always a moving number until we get right to that day, but last I heard we were somewhere in 80, 85 number. A manageable parade. Anytime you get more units than that, it really kind of drags on. It's difficult to keep the spaces close. Actually, on Friday, we'll have the parade committee will be here, and they'll talk a little bit more about the parade and the units and the challenges, the specific challenges that they have. But that'll be Jim and Donna Kroll and Noel Miller, and I'm not sure who else will join, but there's a group that spends almost their entire year just working on the parade portion of this.
And there again, that takes money too, because some of these things that come to the parade, you do have to cover some of their expenses.
You do. It's probably the most expensive part of the entire Heritage Days event that goes on. So, yeah, it's a very expensive part of the event, but it's also one of the things that draws more people than anything else does, because it's a very nice parade that they put on.
And it's nice to have a mix of a lot of different things too.
It for sure is, and that's also when we look at the total festival we have, we try to do a mix as well. Because like we mentioned, we try to find things that will interest all people. So, for example, this Sunday is our classic car show, and that'll be at Tonka Park. This year we didn't get flooded out, so we don't have that challenge.
I was questioning yesterday whether you'd get flooded out or not, but we got lucky.
Yep.
So we have that on Sunday. We actually have our soapbox derby is something that I'm really passionate about. I think it's a lot of fun. It's great. It brings families together. This Saturday we have our practice run from 9 to 11, and that's up in the Peace Lutheran Church neighborhood. So that's this Saturday from 9 to 11, and then next Saturday we change things a little bit. We have a few changes. One is registration will start at 7:30, and we will start racing at 9. We say at 9. It ends up being a little after 9 by the time we get everybody lined up. We're going to be racing the adult division first. So that's a change that has been asked of many people. We get the adults, and then we let the kids run and have fun and keep doing their thing, and they keep grandma and grandpa there and everybody else, and everybody's cheering. Then the last change that we had with the soapbox derby is this year we're doing a pre-registration. So if you pre-register before the 15th, which is Monday, then the registration is $10. Anytime after that, it's $15. The reason for that is we'd like to put together a program that has all the racers listed with their car numbers and so on. It makes it easier for the committee to get that done, so we're providing a little incentive to do that.
And then you've got all your heats and everything all lined up and...
Right, it really helps, we anticipate it'll really help with the flow of things.
I like the idea of an adult soapbox derby too. Why do kids get all the fun all the time? Let adults...
It's quite an event. You know, if you haven't been out there, you should. Anybody and everybody should come out and watch part of that event. I mean, there's a big open field. There's plenty of room to sit, plenty of road area and stuff. But we require 2 turns on our track here, so it gets them out there, and they have to be able to maneuver their cars, and they can't go too fast or they won't make the curves. But if they don't go fast enough, they won't win. So I mean, it really is fun, and there'll be kids here even this coming Saturday for the practice one that are they're practicing all their turns. They'll go on both sides of the track and they'll run and run and run until they just really feel comfortable with it.
What are some of the other things going on during the Heritage Day celebration?
You know, one of the new ones we have this year is we're actually going to be doing a pub crawl on Friday night, and that's going to be done through the historic Hutchinson House B&B. Tammy Schluter, who's done a lot of work with the Tilt-A-Whirl, is actually going to be coordinating and running that, so you just need to go to that event. And again, it is a button event, so there is a small fee, but the fee will cover the cost of the button if you're going to be doing that as well here too. We mentioned the mayor's reception is going to be on Thursday night this week, beginning at 5 o'clock down at Alexander's.
Yeah, another fun event is Wednesday night we have our youth night. So we have our opening ceremonies at 6:30. That'll go till about 7. And at 7 o'clock we have the Paradise Community Band will be performing. And then following that will be youth night from roughly 8 to 11. It's great because all of the inflatables and the rides that we bring in, not the carnival rides, but the rides that we bring in will be free. So kids can run in the wow balls, the little hamster balls that they have on water. They get inside and run on the water. That's all free for that evening. It's a lot of fun. But I did mention the carnival. Carnival this year, we're doing a strip of 8 tickets for $18. So pre-sale on tickets, a strip of 8 tickets for $18. It's 1 ticket per ride, and they're available until 5 o'clock on Wednesday the 17th. That's when the carnival starts. And they are available for sale at Hy-Vee and Fairway.
Should probably mention too, we mentioned so many different things. You want to keep up to speed, double check, look for all the flyers around town, or you mentioned your website. That's really handy too.
Yep, we do have a website that you can pull all this up on at faribaultheritagedays.com, and also keep current with our Facebook page. We have a Faribault Heritage Days Facebook page as well too, and that way you can keep current and just keep, you know, we will have some changes and stuff that go on, so that'll get you the most up-to-date version of everything that's happening.
Who's in charge of the weather?
Not me.
I think that's a mayor's responsibility, isn't it?
Well, if it is, let's hope that he does. He's had a couple of tough years with the mayor's reception, so fortunately he does a lot of them undercover, so he keeps the rain away that way. But no, we've except for some Thursday nights over the last 4 or 5 years, we've actually managed to pull off pretty good weather every year for years and years on this event. So.
And you know what? If you do end up with bad weather, then you just get the word out. If you have to make changes and move some locations and things, and we deal with it.
Yep, we deal with it and just move on. We have a lot of other activities, and some are always indoors, so we'll still be able to have a lot of things for people to do.
This year we have our World War II fly girl, Liz Strophus, is our Grand Marshal. One way that we are recognizing that is there's a coloring contest this year. The empty sheets are available on our website, faribaultheritagedays.com, but they're also available down at the Park and Rec building. So kids can go down, take one out, fill it out, or color it in, and then turn it back in. As well as, if you want to see Liz will be speaking at the opening ceremonies, and she will also be in the parade, of course.
That's neat. And I always like to bring in some sort of these parades and community celebrations honoring our veterans. It's always nice to do that.
Yep, it'll be very nice with that. You know, a couple of other activities we've got going on. There's tours all week long. There's a number of different tours just to see different aspects of your community and get out there. And most of those tours are all free. All you need to do is have a button again to do those. We've got our kids chalk walk on Friday afternoon. That's from 1 to 3, and that's where they just go and they color all the sidewalks at Central Park, and that was a really neat event. Last year they did fish out there, and it was really a unique experience for a lot of the kids doing that, as well as everybody else once the artwork was all completed. And
so you can have some good vandalization with the sidewalks in chalk.
Absolutely. That one we didn't look at as vandalization, but yeah, it was a great event for us, and we had a lot of kids participate. So we're hoping that we get even more this year that'll participate in that. And we've got fishing clinics, or a fishing contest that goes on Saturday morning. Citywide garage sale. The farmers market will still go on, and that's a big boom for them next Saturday morning. So we'll have a rugby tournament in town, and we've got Saturday afternoon. We've talked about the soapbox derby, but we also have a mini tractor pull that goes on up in the Sacred Heart Church area there, and that goes on for a couple of hours in the afternoon. That's another really fun event.
Mini tractor pull, so that's like, is it lawnmowers then? Or
like lawnmowers,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
I've seen some of those around the state fair, other community celebrations. Yeah, really fun.
It is a fun event to watch.
And there again, it's where folks can kind of get involved. Sure, some of them that do it a lot, they know all the tricks, but if you don't know a whole lot, you can still get involved.
Yep, just come in and see how they're doing and what it's up to and stuff. But it's a very fun event to have for the part of the Heritage Days.
Yeah, for those that enjoy karaoke, on Thursday night we're having our family fun night in Central Park. We'll have free karaoke. Fairway is going to come down with free watermelon. So we'll have all kinds of different. Park and Rec is going to come down, and they're going to be running some different games at that time as well. So there's something for everybody.
And you know what? If you're at some community celebration or you have an interest in something, come to the board. Maybe a little bit late for this year, but come to the board with your ideas. And
we are always looking for new ideas, and we're always looking for new board members. So, you know, if you're interested, there'll be a number of board members. We'll all be in the park the entire length of the festivities, and we'll be around at all the different events. Please talk to us and give us your name and phone numbers, and we'll get you on our email list, and we'll get you invited to all of our different meetings, because the more different type of events we can do, the more fun it is for the entire community.
And the Heritage Days button, just $3 to show your support. Well, just coming, you're showing your support, but if you can buy that button, that helps make Heritage Days what it is.
Absolutely.
We only have about a minute left. Paul, Jason, is there something we missed that we should have mentioned? We'll talk more. You mentioned next week about the parade.
Yeah. There's a lot of events, and it's tough to cover them all in a half hour or in an hour. So once again, we just recommend people go out to our website, faribault.youtube.com. If you go to events, there's a printable schedule there, so you can print that off for yourself, or you can go through the schedule and write things down from just looking at it online, as well as our Facebook page. And then there are posters throughout town that volunteers and Matt, the intern at Park and Rec, spent a lot of time going around and putting them up so that people are aware of what is going on.
And then also make sure you keep checking, because if things get added, changes have to be made, that's the first thing you'll do is you'll call KDHL first, send us an email, and then you'll change put it on your website, right, Paul?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's what we would do.
Thanks for coming in, Paul.
Thank you.
And thanks too, Jason.
Yeah, you're welcome.